Tonight, an explosive rejoinder by former Attorney General Martin Amidu in the Daily Graphic is shedding light on the relationship between current Attorney General Marietta Brew Appiah, her law firm Letha Brew & Co., and Raymond Smith, who is a sole shareholder of Austro Invest. Attorney General Martin Amidu appears to support the position of Woyome, who is asking Marietta Brew to step aside because of what he terms as impartiality in pursuing the case of 51 million Ghana cedis against him, Martin Amidu. Tonight, we'll look into the matters therein. This is today's big story. It has come to light that the relationship between Attorney General Marietta Brew Appiah and Raymond Smith, who Woyome claims to have paid $1 million as his share of the 51 million judgment debt, is far more than what she has made us believe. Former Attorney General Martin Amidu has thrown more light on the matter. To an extent, it has come to light that indeed Raymond Smith, who is a sole shareholder of Austro Invest and also managing director of M-Power Pack, was a joint beneficiary of the 51 million Ghana cedis secured by Woyome. Woyome's letter to then Attorney General Betty Mould-Driso making claims for the 51 million Ghana cedis was indeed on behalf of Austro Invest and his own behalf, jointly and severally. Letha Brew & Co. represented Raymond Smith then. Well, a lot more issues are embedded in this expose, which needs a legal brainstorming. Samson Lardi Ayenene is a private legal practitioner. He's joining us now. Samson, I'm grateful that you could take time off your busy schedule to join us. Now, I know you've spoken extensively about the matter. We want to simplify the issue this evening. What really are the key points being raised by Martin Amidu in this matter?
His major plaint is that there is a conflict of interest, and that by his alleged, by his allegations, Marietta Brew Appiah is not going to be in a position to be impartial in the pursuit of the state's interest against Alfred Woyome, to the extent that he alleges, is being selective in the approach. Selective in the sense that even though he alleges that Woyome and Ray Smith are involved, she appears to be pursuing Woyome whilst Ray Smith is being left.
That's right.
Because if you look at it critically, Ray Smith also ought to be in the dock, ought to be charged, and he ought to be answering questions.
But he's not. So now, if you look at this Martin Amidu's expose in reference to Woyome's letter, which was written to the Attorney General and copied to the Chief of Staff, asking Marietta Brew to step aside, resign her position because he does not think that she can be impartial in the matter. Do you see it that Martin Amidu seemed to be supporting the position of Woyome?
Martin Amidu, by what he has revealed, by the publication of the affidavit that he swore in the Supreme Court, has shown clearly that he actually went to the Supreme Court to support Woyome when he discovered that even in pursuit of the recovery of the money, 51 million, that the Supreme Court had earlier adjudged that Martin Amidu was right in his particular suit. He finds that instead of pursuing the recovery of the money against the two of them jointly, she was pursuing it against Woyome separately. And he says that also was wrong. So he filed an affidavit actually to support Woyome against the alleged selective pursuit of the recovery by the Attorney General.
So do you see enough grounds now that light has been shed on this matter? Do you see that there is enough grounds for Marietta Brew Appiah to perhaps just step aside?
until the contrary is proven, I take the view that what Martin Amidu is doing.
Right. Something Ladi Ayanini, we're grateful for your time.
Thank you.
We know we had to pull you out of a personal situation, which we are grateful that you could make time to speak to us. Let's get on to the other telephone line now and speak to Mike Okwe Jr., who is also a legal practitioner. Good evening, sir, and thanks for joining us on today's big story.
Hello.
Good evening, and thanks for your time.
Yes. Good evening. Sorry, I couldn't hear properly.
That's fine. We appreciate you joining us. Now, I want your quick observation on these developments. Martin Amidu's rejoinder in the Daily Graphic vis-a-vis Woyome's demand for Marietta Brew Appeal Pong to step aside.
Well, let me just start by saying that this is a two-side coin affair. As far as I can see it, because on the one hand, what Mr. Woyome is saying with regard to Madam Marietta Brew Pong Apia is not entirely true in terms of the amount of money that has been given to her, i.e. not to her or in terms of her law firm.
That's right.
So there's a bit of an anomaly there. But for me, the most intriguing part is that we need to be able to look at this issue in its entirety and to be able to determine if there is a possibility of a conflict of interest. Why do we say so? One, we know that Lisa Brew and Co., of which Mr. Tony Lisa, who is the president's lawyer, and Madame Brew, who is Madame Marietta Brew, who is the Attorney General, the government lawyer.
Yeah, that's right.
Were both involved with a company called Astro Invest.
That's right.
Of which Mr. Woyome was a financial engineer.
That's right.
We also know further that the company called Empower Pack, which is owned by Mr. Ray Smith, who owns Astro Invest with the wife Ingeborg.
That's right.
Mr. Woyome was also a director of that firm.
An alternate director of that firm.
Technical.
That's right.
So this is a very murky area because Woyome is involved with Ray Smith in a business. Ray Smith's lawyer happens to be Lisa Brew and Co. Then later on, a lawyer or a partner
in that firm
from the same Lisa Brew and Co. becomes the Attorney General and is tasked with the responsibility of retrieving the money from this same Mr. Woyome, who was also dealing with a business partner of which they were their lawyers.
That's right, and we understand from Martin Amidu's statement that a letter dated 18th August 2009, signed by Woyome on behalf of Astro Invest and his own behalf, and addressed to the then Attorney General, making claims for the now unconstitutional payments, were actually made on the joint.
Succinctly, because if you look at the letter that even Betty Mould wrote, and if my memory serves me right, I think it was around the 28th of May, 2010. I don't have my documents with me here now, but that was approximately the date. When she wrote to the then finance minister, she wrote that the money, that's the 2% for the financial engineering that was being claimed, was on behalf of Mr. Woyome and Astro Invest.
Yeah, that's right.
So when you look at all of this in its entirety, all I'm saying, and I don't know why some people take these things so personal. Look, if somebody's involved in a case in any jurisdiction, especially abroad, where they practice fairness, where there's a judge who may be directly or indirectly involved in the matter, or in this case, Attorney General, we have to find a way of solving the problem. What are solutions at hand? She can be moved to another ministry. After all, that is what the president does. When there's somebody who has to come to Parliament to answer, he did that with Mr. Yaiga recently. He did that with Elvis Ankra before, and many others. He can move her to a different department so that we get somebody who we all entirely believe will be unbiased in retrieving our money. That is the main purpose and the crux of this whole scenario. And we don't want anyone to take it personal, but to look at how we can improve our country's democracy, especially the perception of bias. Because you see, it doesn't always have to be corruption. The perception of corruption itself is an index. The perception of bias, where somebody may feel, and I emphasize the word may, that they've not been treated properly or fairly. These are things that should be considered, because on the other hand, she may actually be doing a very good job, no problem. But for the court to say that the work from the prosecution was shoddy, it was lackadaisical, and it was a complete waste of time, some people may be inclined to think that the prosecution, for one reason or the other, deliberately brought in a case to the court, and when they brought it in there, they were not able to execute it because of certain bias.
Right, so Mr. Quaye, let's move it further. I do know that this issue of sloppiness and shoddiness is in contention now as the Attorney General is appealing that ruling already. But does the fact that Lisa Brew and Co. are the private lawyers of the President and a partner of the firm is the Attorney General have any significance in whether Marietta Brew Appiah can claim impartiality in pursuing the case against Woyome?
Well, you see, that is why I'm saying that. And for once, honestly, on this matter, I don't want to look at this in a with any hat. What I'm saying simply
you're saying with any political hat as your pro-MPP. Is that what you mean?
Yes, exactly. Okay. I want to try and look at this from a legal point of view, i.e., how does it look? Because we all know that Marietta Brew Appiah had a problem even in the courts when the prosecution was taking place. I remember that the judge was so frustrated with the lackadaisical approach by the prosecution, who were not attending court, that he actually charged them 500 Ghana cedis of costs. Then this same prosecution came to court every day to fight against the 500, but they won't come to court every day to fight for the 51 million. So that in itself, people were asking, why? What is the situation? What is the interest? Why is that people like Martin Hamidou seem to want this thing done well in a certain way, but others seem to be blocking it, or seem to be delaying, or seem to be lackadaisical, or seem to be wasting the court's time? These are all issues that I think, for her own sake, she should just move aside from this particular quagmire,
so that these issues can be investigated, and the issues to be investigated.
Very much so, in a way that is not tainted with perceived bias.
Right. Now, Martin Hamidou raised another issue which I want to put before you. He raised the possibility of professional misconduct. I'm trying to look at particular reference and raise it.
Yes, he raised
the question of, I beg your pardon, I just want to make the point. He raised the question of the fact that Lisa Brew and Co. went ahead to represent Ray Smith at the time that Austro Invest had been liquidated in Switzerland, so that they didn't have a legal position to be represented in any court of law, which brings a very important ethical issue here. So from where you stand, is this a matter that we should be interested in pursuing, professional misconduct against Lisa Brew and Co?
Lisa Brew the benefit of the doubt, that the fault was from the client, who didn't give them the knowledge that the company had been liquidated. Let us say even that's the case. So I don't want to pin them down too much on that, even though that in itself was a big problem. My problem is that you were the people involved in claiming. You see, let me give you an example. I was involved in a very big case in this country. I don't want to mention the name of the case because it's not fair. But the magnitude of the case was that one of the richest men in Ghana, we asked to put certain investment. It came up to almost $1 million, so that within that time they could win the case. The case was won, and we're talking about almost $12 million.
That's right. So
the man had to be paid his money and also his share in the main money that came. This was the same thing with the Woyome money. That at a point, Astro Invest, Mr. Ray Smith, gave Mr. Woyome some advanced money whilst he was chasing this thing and supported his claim. And by so doing, he was entitled to certain money which Mr. Woyome was not paying. So he took him to a civil court and was given the money. So if you are the lawyer in terms of your firm involved in that level of even sharing some of the money, it doesn't mean that you have taken that money directly. It is very difficult for this same person to go and claim the money, because when you go, you also have to claim the money from your client to add to Mr. Williams' money for complete for Ghana. You see where the challenges come in?
Yeah.
So to avoid all of these concern, uncertainty, perception, and so on, I think that it's best that, as Martin Hamidu has also said, and he's expressed this fear from time. I agree with him that Marietta Brew Opong is really not in the best position to claim that money for Ghana because of that perceived bias.
Yeah.
That is the only problem. Apart from that, I think that she's a lady of excellent repute. She's done her job very well so far. I don't think her name has come into any of the issues of controversy. But when it comes to this big 51 million Ghana cedi retrieval, she is tainted by way of an indirect or direct involvement with Austro Invest.
Right, Mr. Michael Quay, we're grateful for your time on today's big story. We have had an exclusive interview with former Attorney General Ayi, to which we were hoping that we could get excerpts of that, but we are unable to bring you those excerpts. So if you've just joined us, today's big story, we're discussing some of the critical issues that have been raised in rejoinder by former Attorney General Martin Hamidu, questioning the impartiality of Attorney General Marietta Brew Appiah to pursue Alfred Agbeshi-Woyome, businessman Alfred Agbeshi-Woyome, for 51 million Ghana cedis judgment that he legally procured through a court order. We'll be right back with more. Do stay.